From pressure to curiosity, rethinking the claim that poor people talk about money, rich people about things, and wealthy people about ideas. Abstract. The popular saying that poor people talk about money, rich people talk about things, and wealthy people talk about ideas suggests a hierarchy of thought tied to economic status. While compelling, this claim oversimplifies human behavior and risks conflating circumstance with character. This paper reframes the statement through a psychological and philosophical lens, proposing that differences in conversational focus are better explained by shifting mental states, pressure, freedom, and curiosity. Drawing on self-determination theory, as well as philosophical traditions from Aristotle to Karl Marx and Hannah Arendt, the analysis argues that as necessity recedes and autonomy expands, individuals become more capable of engaging in reflective and idea-driven thought. The progression, therefore, is not about wealth categories, but about the conditions that enable human flourishing. Introduction. The claim that economic status determines the nature of conversation has become a widely circulated cultural shorthand. Its appeal lies in its simplicity and implied hierarchy, suggesting a progression not only of wealth, but of intellectual depth. Yet this framing echoes an old philosophical tension: the relationship between necessity and freedom. From Aristotle's distinction between mere survival and the contemplative life, to modern debates about labor and autonomy, thinkers have long questioned when and how humans are able to engage with ideas. This paper argues that the popular quote is best understood not as a hierarchy of people, but as a reflection of shifting human conditions. Deconstructing the original claim. At a surface level, the statement reflects real patterns. Individuals facing economic hardship often focus on money because it is tied to survival. This aligns with Karl Marx's argument that material conditions shape consciousness. When life is dominated by economic necessity, thought itself becomes constrained by it. As financial stability increases, attention shifts toward consumption and lifestyle, what the quote calls things. However, the final claim that wealthy people talk about ideas requires more scrutiny. While some individuals with resources engage in abstract thinking, many do not, and conversely, intellectual life has historically flourished among those without wealth. The flaw in the quote is its assumption that wealth produces depth, rather than recognizing that freedom from necessity creates the possibility of depth. Pressure, freedom, and curiosity as a framework. A more precise interpretation emerges when the claim is reframed as a progression from pressure to freedom to curiosity. Under pressure, individuals are governed by necessity, attention narrows, and thinking becomes immediate and practical. This reflects what Hannah Arendt described as the dominance of labor, the repetitive activity required to sustain life. Freedom arises when individuals gain autonomy and are no longer entirely bound by necessity. At this stage, they can begin to choose rather than merely react. Curiosity, however, represents a further step: the movement into reflection, inquiry, and meaning. This aligns closely with Aristotle's idea that the highest human activity is contemplation, made possible only when basic needs are met. Importantly, these are not fixed identities but shifting states that individuals move through depending on their circumstances. Which state is better? Philosophically, it may be tempting to elevate curiosity as the highest state, but this requires caution. Friedrich Nietzsche, for instance, warned against dismissing struggle, arguing that constraint and difficulty are essential for growth. Pressure can cultivate discipline and resilience, while freedom provides the conditions for self-direction. Curiosity enables exploration and meaning, yet risks detachment if disconnected from reality. Rather than ranking these states, a more balanced view recognizes their interdependence. Human flourishing emerges not from eliminating pressure entirely, but from transforming it into a manageable force that coexists with freedom and supports curiosity. The progression from pressure to curiosity is strongly supported by self-determination theory, which distinguishes between controlled, autonomous, and intrinsic motivation. Controlled motivation corresponds to acting under pressure. Autonomous motivation reflects freedom, and intrinsic motivation aligns with curiosity. What philosophy adds is a deeper interpretation of why this progression matters. Where psychology describes the mechanisms of motivation, philosophy addresses the meaning of living beyond necessity. Together, they suggest that humans are not merely driven to survive, but to understand, create, and reflect, provided the conditions allow it. Conclusion. The original claim that different economic classes talk about different subjects is not entirely without basis, but it is fundamentally incomplete. It captures a pattern while misunderstanding its cause. Philosophical and psychological perspectives converge on a clearer explanation. Human thought is shaped by the tension between necessity and freedom. What appears to be a hierarchy of wealth is more accurately a progression of conditions, from pressure to freedom to curiosity. The true distinction, therefore, is not between poor, rich, and wealthy individuals, but between those constrained by necessity and those with the capacity to move beyond it into reflection and ideas.